It's better than yours, I can teach you, but I have to charge. That should have been me. Hey guys, so almost 3 years ago, I auditioned for the HYBE X Geffen program, which is essentially, if you don't know, how they picked the girls to go into Popstar Academy, the show on Netflix where they picked the girls who were gonna be in KATSEYE. A few months ago, I did a story time on TikTok basically explaining the whole audition process, and the video got taken down because Scooter Braun is incapable of ever letting somebody feel joy. A lot of people were interested and a lot of people had questions, so I thought that I would bring it onto YouTube because I refuse to be silenced and talk about my experience auditioning for the HYBE X Geffen project, aka auditioning for KATSEYE. Also, this whole video is timestamped, so if you want to just skip to the juicy part and you don't care about me, ouch, you can skip to the actual audition or the bit where I talk about the insane drama that was going on behind the scenes, because yes, there was drama before the show even started. So for context, I grew up doing musical theater, which is essentially just K-pop's uglier sister. Like, musical theater and K-pop are the same thing, and I continue to say there's a clear pipeline. So naturally, when I found K-pop, I was really into the whole aspect of training for it, and I started to do a lot of K-pop dance classes because also I'm just a huge fan of like Korean dancers and Korean choreographers. I sound like a Koreaboo. I just mean like the dance style that they use over there. Same with China, like the hip-hop style is a lot more similar to what I like to do as a dancer, as opposed to like European. Like, I hate if I had to take another hip-hop class in Spain and do another like who. Essentially, how I came to find out about this audition, I was in one of my dance classes and I heard some people talk about this, and I asked them about this, and they said HYBE, the company, is doing some auditions and they're coming to London. I'm Delulu and I wanted some good YouTube content, so I was like, okay, I'll send in a tape. Essentially, I just had to send in 2 videos of me dancing, picture of my face, full body picture, my name, age, date of birth, where I'm from. Also, for context, you had to be a maximum of 20 years old. That was the age limit, and I had just turned 21, like literally the month of or the month before. So obviously I lied, and any normal person would just lie and say they're like a few months younger than they are. For some reason, I thought in my mind that if they were ever to question me about this, it would be like when people question you about fake IDs and they ask you like, what's your star sign and like what's your Chinese zodiac. So I gave them my sister's birth date because I was like, they can quiz me on that because I know I was there. So I sent my video, and you can choose obviously from the 3 categories: singing, dancing, rapping, and I chose dance, which comes at play later. Thank God I chose this. But essentially, I sent off this tape and I didn't hear back from them for like a month, 2 months, so I forgot about it. January 15th, which is a Sunday, I get an email saying, hey, on Saturday, you're coming to our audition at 11:30 a.m. I was like, okay girl, I'll be there. Actually, I did remember them, and I have email confirmation that I did send them an email being like, actually I can't do 11:30 because I have a job. And for some reason I thought that those £7 an hour were worth more than whatever might come out of this audition. Priority straight. I later found out that they kind of ranked people in order that they wanted to see them, starting at 10, finishing at 6, 7. And I also came to find out that I should have definitely gone in the morning, because the later that it got, the less they cared and the more chaotic it also got. Anyway, they replied obviously saying that there was no issue and I could come at 5:30, and I was like, great. That is until I woke up the next morning with an excruciating pain down my throat, and yes, of course I had tonsillitis. Of course. Remember when I said that me choosing dance over any vocal talent came at play? This was why. Obviously, like, it wasn't as bad as if I was choosing singing or rapping, because I don't need my voice to dance, but I still had a 40-degree fever, so that's not great. But I decided that I was gonna speed run getting better by trying every single medicine that I could find at the same time, reading every single Reddit blog about tonsillitis. But I did every medicine at the same time, and I drank so much olive oil, and that's essentially what saved me. I drank probably in this week over a liter of olive oil, just straight up olive oil, guzzling that. Woke up on Saturday morning feeling good enough to go. I went to my work shift, and my plan was, I was living in Surrey at the time and I'm from London, so my family lives in London. My plan was go to work and then catch the train, get changed, get dressed, get ready, my family home, and then go to Central for this audition. There was no trains, of course. So I had to get on a rural bus, which by the way, I'm also extremely motion sick. So just fully not having the time of my life, getting ready on this suburban bus, putting glitter on my eyelids so that I looked like Yeji from ITZY or whatever. I remember getting home at like 3:30 and having literally 10 minutes to just get ready and just get on the underground because again, there was no train, so I had to get the underground, which hey. Of course, the underground was late, but miraculously, I made it to my audition with like 10 minutes to spare. And at this point, I had been keeping up with the drama already, which I will go into at the end of the video because I think that chronologically it makes the most sense. So now onto the actual audition. Like I said, they kind of ranked everybody in order how much they wanted to see people, and by the time that I got there at 5 or 5:30, I can't quite recall, you could definitely tell that the crowd was a lot different from the morning crowd. It was a lot of younger people, a lot of inexperienced people when it came to auditions, not in regards to talent, but I think it really came across when you got into the line that these girls were probably like 14, 15. I don't know what the minimum age was, but they were very scared and very anxious and worried about a lot of things that they definitely did not need to be worried about. So I ended up calming down everybody because I grew up auditioning in London. I know how scary it is, and I loved when someone older would come in and be like, it's okay, like don't worry, you've got this, like hyping you up, girl in bathroom style. So I ended up taking care of these girls to the point of like one's mother was like, oh, you saved us, like let me buy you dinner, and I was like, no, I'm okay, like I want to go home and sleep because I've spent the whole morning taking care of kids and teens, and now I have to do this again, but this time for free and not for the £7 an hour. We waited for a really long time. They made us sign a release form, which I always read my contracts when I sign them, and this one was crazy. Obviously, I know in hindsight that they were doing the Netflix show at the time. I did not know that, so a lot of it makes sense now because they had a lot of things in terms of like usage rights and like footage, and I was like, why would they need to use this footage? I actually haven't watched the Netflix show, so I don't know how much came up. I think about 15 people were for each time slot. So when we went in, we waited for the other auditions to be done, and then it was our turn to go into the room, and they lined us up in 2 lines. They gave us a little paper with our name and number. It was giving survival show. I forgot to mention this, but essentially when they sent us the email before, they wrote down the instructions, that things you had to prepare. Basically saying, if you're singing, prepare this much of a song. If you're rapping, prepare this many seconds of a song. And if you're dancing, they had a selection of 5 songs. Let me find those songs. Megan Thee Stallion, Dua Lipa, Sweetest Pie, Sweetie, Fast, brackets Motion, Sam Smith, Kim Petras, Unholy, Doja Cat, Like That, and Beyonce, Crazy in Love. You may select a song from this list of 5 songs, or we may select a random song from the list or outside the list for you to freestyle to on the day of the audition, which is very audition standard. Obviously, familiarize myself with all of the songs just in case. And when we got to the audition, I was, I think, one of the last in the group to go. People just stepped in front of the group, said their name, and then did their talent. Again, because I have been auditioning for so many years, like at this point, probably 10 years of my life had been spent auditioning for things in London. Like I was just so used to a certain like style, a certain level of auditioning, and this was very much giving like school play auditions, in the sense of that a lot of people could not even get their name out. I read online before, a lot of people were saying that they were super ruthless and super mean and they would just cut you off or like not let you repeat your thing. That was not the case at all when I was there. Like so many people could not sing their song, say their bit, their voice would break, or they would just start laughing halfway, or they would just stop and they would let them restart again, probably up to 3 times, and then they told them to no. And a lot of people like did not manage to get through this song. When it came to my point, I just stepped out, said my name, they let me pick a song, and I ended up choosing Fast by Sweetie. If you've ever seen me dance, you will probably be like, Matilde, why would you pick that song? Because that's the least like my style at all. But at the time I was really into tutting and whacking. So I decided to do that, which again, I don't know why in hindsight that I did that, because I know that is my weakest. Hands, 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 hands. But I did it. They just picked a random spot in the song, so I just freestyled for a little bit. I said it was 45 seconds that everybody pretty much had. I ended up going for a minute because they just didn't stop and they kept me going. I actually had really nice judges. I've done auditions before where people just have not looked up from the table. I was getting a little hype, I was getting a smile, I was getting a woo! So I was enjoying it, I really was. And so that was the audition experience. Let's talk about the drama. I didn't know this before the time, but there's a side of Twitter called Audition Twitter. Just people who are looking to be K-pop idols or get into the K-pop idol industry, documenting their different auditions and casting processes for different things. By chance, I happened to come across a tweet on my Explore about this audition, and I saw that it had a lot of traction. Searching more things about it because I was interested, and I love a good competition stalking. And I came across an account that had thousands of followers that was live tweeting everything that was happening in the audition, and they were not London-based at all. So I don't know if people were sending them like this information, or if they just like happened to come to London for this, which like a lot of people had flown over for it. It was super toxic. It got to a point where it started becoming very racist, obviously, because K-pop stans don't know how to chill. I think at the start of the day, a lot of the girls that got callbacks were very like British blonde, and a lot of people kind of took that as the standard, and as the day went by, a lot more people that were being chosen were particularly Black and Asian. And that's where the drama comes in, because obviously we look at KATSEYE now and we see this beautiful diverse group, and that's like their big USP, and they're so gorgeous, and like, and I think it's so cool that they're like from such different like ethnic and cultural backgrounds, and they all bring that into the group. I think that's what really makes them unique. And a lot of people were mad about that, because they were like, why are you auditioning in London and then only picking people who are not British? Which, okay, Tommy Robinson, pack it up. But it got to the point where people were like doxing these girls who were getting into the second stage of audition. Why would you go and audition in the US and in the UK and like all these cities if you're not gonna choose people that look like us? Maybe because they chose big cities where there would be a lot of different diversity. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little chit-chatty video. I know it was a little bit different than most of my videos because it's not a vlog, but I think that maybe I'll just start doing like little bonus updates throughout the week if I have time, where I tell you fun stories about my life, because I do a lot of things for the plot. And if you want to listen, then you can. And if you don't, why are you still here? Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. Okay, bye.